Don't y'all hate it when somebody says something, and that something that someone said makes you feel old as hell? Now don't let this hairline fool you. I'm only 37, but what my 6-year-old daughter said to me the other day on our way back from McDonald's, I felt like I might as well be going to the bank to cash my Social Security check. So, we're on our way home. She's in the back seat in her booster, because why the hell would she be up front with me? She's only 6. And, we hit a dead zone. She's watching SpongeBob on my phone. It goes out, and she's like, stupid phone. I readjust the rearview mirror. I look back at her. I said, baby girl, what's wrong? She was aggravated. She's like, the phone's not working anymore. And I responded to her. I said, baby girl, we live out in the country, okay? We don't have the best service. Signal comes and goes, so whenever you get signal, it'll resume playing. And then she hit me with that question that still lingers up here. She looked at me, she said, Dad, in all seriousness, she said, Dad, when you were my age, did your phone freeze too while watching SpongeBob? As soon as she asked me that question, internally I was screaming like a little biatch. I was like, oh my God! Oh my God! What the f-? So, after my little senior moment, I responded the classic way that most old folks do to younger people. I looked at her, I said, well, baby, back in my day... Son of a... I said, back in my day, honey, we didn't have SpongeBob, we didn't have internet, and we didn't have cell phones. I look back in the mirror, she's like, what did you do for fun? Now, up until I was 18 years old and I joined the Navy, I had the luxury of enjoying the country life, So I looked at her and I said, honey, when I was your age, I used to just go fishing, ride my bike, go hang out with my cousins, chase cows, the fun stuff. She looks at me, waits a second, thinks about it, and she's like, that doesn't sound like fun. This got me to giggling, and I was like, no, baby girl, absolutely not. I had an absolute amazing childhood. Even though I didn't have internet, guess what Grandma and Grandpa did to Daddy? They kicked me out of the house, and I wasn't allowed to come home till either the supper was ready or the sun went down. And even then, we would gather around the table, we would eat our dinner, and then we would retire to the living room where we would enjoy surfing a whopping 6 channels. Good old 3, 5, 13, 10, 24, and 30. That's because cable and satellite ain't been invented yet. She sits with that for a minute, thinking to herself, and then she finally looks at me in the rearview mirror and she says, wow, you're old. And I'm like, baby girl, I'm not that old. I'm only 37. And she's like, yeah, you are. You're older than Mickey Mouse. And about that time, I pull up to the driveway, I put it in park, I pop that seatbelt, I turn around and look at her, I said,
hey there, pal. I'm not older than Mickey Mouse. Now, unbuckle your seatbelt, baby girl. Get your stuff. Get inside.
To be honest, my response to my baby's girl's question about what her daddy did for fun when he was her age was far less scarring than what my mother told me what she did back in her younger years. Now, when I asked my mom that question, she hit me with, boy, how do you think you and your siblings got here? I sat with it, I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Oh, Peter, that's nasty. But y'all, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out with me till the end. If you enjoyed the content, please feel free to give me a follow. Drop a comment down below. I'm looking to start doing some stand-up here recently. Probably sometime this week I'm going to hit a few open mic nights up. See how we do. If y'all think it'll do good at an open mic, y'all let me know down below. If you think it's going to go, then you let me know.